All right, welcome to another exciting episode of DAFT, Dumb Apple Farmers Talk. Today we're continuing our series on sort of the development of apples from buds to blossom to fruit. And we've had quite a bit of activity. We are in about the middle of April, getting towards the middle of April right now. And things have been moving really fast. The amount of time between some of these stages when they go from dormant to silver tip to quarter-inch green to half-inch green can be a week, it can be a day. And lately it's been a day. Now that's because our nighttime temperatures have stayed high up into the 60s, and daytime temperatures have been anywhere from 70, somewhere almost towards 80 degrees. So we've had a rapid escalation of development from in these buds. Now our temperatures are cooling off again, especially at night. This is going to slow things down. As we'll talk about, this stage that we're at right now, called tight cluster, starts to be where we get really concerned about cold nighttime temperatures. Okay, so we're now at the stage called tight cluster. If you remember, or if you've seen any other information about this, we were at sort of half-inch green, where the buds are still completely covered up. These leaves were still all the way engulfing those buds. But now we're at tight cluster, and we can very clearly see that there's 5 buds. Each one will be a blossom. And each of those 5 is now open to the air. Okay, the blossom parts themselves are still covered by some protective, a shield, if you will. The really delicate flower parts are inside there, but there's only one layer protecting them now. This is called tight cluster. Right now, research shows us that if we have temperatures of 27 degrees, we will kill somewhere around 10% of these buds. If the temperature gets clear down to like 21, it'll pretty much wipe them out. 90% kill is what we're told. So this tight cluster stage is also critical for a number of other things. At this stage of maturity, the flower buds become susceptible to quite a few insect problems, fungal problems like scab, apple scab. It becomes a really big issue. Whether you're growing them organically or conventionally, something has to be done to protect these buds from apple scab. The second thing is insects. We start to see lots of critters that want to get in here and start to nibble at these buds. Tarnished plant bug is really a concern right now, especially from here going into bloom. We have like rosy apple aphids and things like that as well. And so this is a stage, tight cluster, where we really start to worry about all kinds of things, okay? I mean, this just becomes angst time for any apple grower. And we can do stuff like having zinc applied can help, having other nutrients applied can help, but really it's up to the great Buddha in the sky to keep us frost-free at this point. Yep, so that's tight cluster. And the next stage is where these buds are actually going to start to reveal themselves. So the next stage of development is where each of these to-be blossoms is going from being covered up to opening up. On this blossom, on this one right here, you can see this is the king. Again, the king, there's always 5 if they haven't had any injury. There'll be 5 potential blossoms. The one in the middle is always the biggest, makes the biggest fruit. That's called the king. And that king, you can see, is just slightly ahead of the rest of them. It's just starting to reveal the pink. That pink is part of the flower blossoms. Here we can see basically 4 of the 5 have opened up, and we would call this stage right here pink. And then from pink, this will go fairly quickly into bloom. Sometimes as quickly as a day, sometimes it can take several days. But at this point, there's lots of critters that want to eat on this. Again, there's lots of fungal problems, blah, 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 blah. But we also have bees that are going to be coming into the picture very soon. So we got to be careful whether you're organic or conventional. how you treat bees is becoming obvious that is really critical. So there's not much you're going to do against insects from this point going forward. This is the last chance. If you're going to do anything to control some insects until after bloom, this is the last chance to do it. This particular tree is a Jonadel, okay? It's crossed between a Jonathan and a Delicious. It's a fairly early variety in terms of coming out. Some varieties, especially like Honeycrisp, Song of September, some of these specialty varieties developed by University of Minnesota tend to be a little bit slower. So they are probably still at least one stage behind, and as many as 2 stages behind. I know for a fact that our Honeycrisp right now are 2 to 3 stages behind these right here. Now they will catch up eventually, but it'll be, you know, as bloom and post bloom they'll catch up. But right now they're quite a bit behind, and hence they're more resistant to freeze, because every stage that we go, the blossom gets closer and closer to being open, and hence it's more and more susceptible to cold. At tight cluster, the previous stage, you had critical temperatures of 27 degrees for 10% kill and 21 degrees, which would kill 90%, right? Now you're at 28 degrees for killing 10% and 24 degrees to kill 90%. So if we get much below 25, we're really starting to grit our teeth at this point. It's getting pretty touchy. So we just hope for the best, and we don't even fear for the worst. We just hope for the best at this point. Yeah, well, welcome back, and we're reviewing the stages of development of apples. You know, this is kind of go time right here. You know, we've got apples going from bud all the way on through to fruit. Last time we talked a little bit about the pink, and so this is early pink. We can see just the bits of the red petals poking through. As we go along, this tree is great. It's showing us all the stages. This is full pink. Pink all the way around. Basically the bottom petals are starting to really unfurl here. And then we go from there. You can see that here's those pink petals, and then inside of them, white petals emerging. And then right up here, we have the white petals fully extended. This is bloom on the king. The king bloom in the middle of that cluster of five blossoms is the king bloom, and that always comes out early, generally a day, 2 days ahead, depends on the temperatures and stuff. We have really cool temperatures in the 40s and 50s here today, so it could be a day, maybe 2 days before we get these side blooms to open up. You can see they are starting to unfurl, and away they'll go. So this king bloom is really critical for us. This this tree, as you can see, is wanting to produce just a ton of fruit. And if you let all of that fruit get pollinated and turn into fruit and stay on the tree, you're going to end up with a lot of really small fruit. Not only that, the tree just lugs under that load. The fruit can't develop enough carbohydrates to properly sweeten and ripen all that fruit. It's just not a good program. In addition, next year you wouldn't have any fruit. So what we want is to set this king bloom and not to set these side blooms. And even the kings, we don't want all of them. We want apples maybe every 6 inches or 8 inches on this tree. This king bloom is opening up right now, and as I said, just within the next couple days, we'll start to see a bunch of these side blooms open up. As they open up, the pollen on the anthers here is going to become ripe, and that's when we're going to start to attract bees and really get into it. So we have bees in the orchard. We have about 30 hives in this orchard right now, courtesy of our beekeeper, and Adam has been bringing them into us for quite a few years, and we want to get in here. We've got temperatures, really good pollinating temperatures. That means low wind and warm conditions coming up this weekend. Today's Friday. We think we should set most of these kings by Saturday or Sunday, provided the weather holds like they're saying it will. So After that, then it's down to fruit, and we'll take that up in our next episode. But this is the end of this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. All right, let's just redo the whole thing. I wasn't real happy with that.
Sounds good, yeah, for sure.